Whether you're joining a Product Marketing Alliance event for the first time or if you're a seasoned regular, welcome to the Product Marketing Festival 2022. We have an awesome selection of innovative content lined up for you today, but before we dive in, I just want to say a huge thank you to our sponsors, speakers and you, our global audience, for joining us. From wherever in the world you are watching, we're sure you'll enjoy today's talks. To get the most out of these sessions, please ensure you are sharing your feedback and asking your questions in the comment section for our speakers to answer. Each of today's sessions recordings will be uploaded into our on-demand content library. If you aren't already, then why not become a PMA Pro member and benefit from unlimited access to exclusive templates, frameworks, and our entire library videos from all our events. So with all that to come, let's dive right in.
Hello everyone, I am super excited to talk with you today about a few tips you can use to help organize your teams and reach your goals. Does this feel familiar when you're running your go-to-market process?
This man right here is my great-grandfather. He's the first cat herder in our family.
Herding cats. Don't let anybody tell you it's easy. Anybody can herd cattle. Holding together 10,000 half-wild short hairs, well, that's another thing altogether.
Being a cat herder is probably about the toughest thing I think I've ever done.
I got this one this morning, right here. And if you look at his face, it's just ripped to shreds, you know?
That cracks me up, especially that line. Looks like his face has been ripped to shreds. Sometimes it feels as though going to market can feel a bit like a battle. After all, we have a few challenges we need to deal with. We receive questions all the time, such as, we have a new product to launch and we want to get it out the door at the end of this month. Even I can do the marketing around this. Just create a bunch of emails, send it to everybody. I had no idea we were doing this, even though you shared this over 1,000 times, you know it. And my personal favorite, oh yeah, I forgot to mention, those features are not going to be included in the release when, of course, you planned your whole marketing campaign around those particular features. Who am I? My name is Linda Franklin, and I am the Product Marketing Manager at Crossover Health. I joined Crossover a year ago as the first Product Marketing Manager at the organization, and I built the go-to-market process and the product marketing function from scratch at Crossover. And it's been a lot of fun, a lot of great challenges. I've been doing product marketing before I realized there was a word for this, by having empathy for your customers and aligning messaging to your customers. Also me, as you see over here on the right-hand side, is my coworker. His name is Mr. Sam. He's always around with me. And I always like to challenge myself each year trying something new. And this year it has been horseback riding. And let me tell you, there's a lot more to riding a horse than just jumping on the back of the horse. What I would like to share with you today is a structured framework of how you can align your cross-functional teams and bring them with you on the go-to-market process. I would like to provide to you tips to bring your teams with you, a step-by-step framework and tactics that you can implement immediately to help herd those cats. Now, this is not going to be a foolproof method by any means, but I hope I can provide to you some tactics and some new information and steps you can implement immediately to help you at least herd a few more cats. Our go-to-market process, as we all know, falls into several different pillars. We have the discovery session, which involves a lot of research around audience segmentation and market research. And following that, we have our strategy around positioning and messaging. Then there's the go-to-market building process and sharing that and socializing it across teams. Then we have the execution side, driving the train forward, making that plan happen. And of course, analyzing at the end on what happened and performing retrospectives. But what is not talked about so much is that what is the oil that keeps these cogs moving forward. And that is what I would like to share with you today. And we will walk through each one of these pillars: discovery, go-to-market building, execution process, and analysis, and talk about the oil we can use in each one of these different phases to keep those cogs moving forward, to help you prevent getting stuck and hopefully not going backwards. Let's start with discovery. And I love this image because doesn't discovery feel as though you're going into the abyss? It's a black hole. You're not sure what you're going to find here when it comes to this discovery session. And when I talk about discovery at a very high level, it's about understanding the product, the why behind it, and launch date expectations. Certainly, a lot more goes under discovery. This is at a very high level. Common challenges that we meet during this process are: our product will launch in January or June. Sales never heard about this. Don't you know this interferes with a new release that we also have coming out? How is this feature release driving the company forward? We really don't know how this product's going to work yet, but we still have to launch it. I have heard this before, and maybe you have too. Here are a few solutions we could help to herd those cats. Discovery solution number 1, establish a timeline. Even if a timeline is not set yet or that's out in the clouds right now, put a timeline together and put it in front of your product team. Why? This drives action. So timeline is a forcing function, and it gives teams something to react to. In addition, it also provides teams insight into the time you need in order to properly prepare and have a successful kickoff. Solution number 2, stakeholders. Align and know who your stakeholders are early. Get everyone on board early in the process to ensure visibility cross-functionally. And remember, each stakeholder brings their own unique perspective to the table. I've seen stakeholders bring items to the table that never in a million years would have considered a particular function. And don't worry if you're including too many people. They won't let you know if they don't want to be involved, but you also need to let them know the price that is involved with not being held accountable. But this is really key up front so that you can start from the very beginning on getting approvals of the entire process. Number 3, I always include how a particular product release or a new product aligns with the corporate goals. And what this does is that by showing all teams how this particular release aligns with the goals, it brings everyone together on a common goal to achieve desired revenue or to achieve new members or whatever the goal might be across the corporation. It's a great driving function. Number 4, product brief. Now you might be thinking, yeah, of course, product brief, but if you are the first product marketer in a company, this may not be established. In fact, your product team may not have even worked off of a product brief before. But this is great news for you. You get to create one, working in partnership with the product team, creating a product brief, and it provides you can establish what information you need to drive your marketing forward. Also, much like the timelines, it is a forcing function, and it asks particular questions to help the individuals on the product team think about what is the business case for this release? How does this align with our corporate goals? And helps to question whether or not perhaps even this feature or release is one that needs marketing around it. And our last one within the discovery session is sizing the launch. This is really a critical one because it tells and aligns all your cross-functional teams on how much star power your feature or product should receive. As you can see here in our grid on the left-hand side, we have whether a product could be innovative or gap filling, whether it's to attract new customers or be held for customer retention. So where our product lands in this chart is more of a medium-sized launch. And having senior leadership align on this is critical so that 3 months down the road, no one is asking you, hey, where's the press release around this? And you have to explain that this launch was sized as a medium-sized launch and press release was not tied to that marketing initiative. Again, by sizing your launch, it informs you and the marketing team how much marketing power to put behind this. And that affects, of course, the go-to-market strategy. Preparing for market. I love the boxing gloves on here because just like with herding cats, it feels like you're going into the ring sometimes. But it is always great to remember that please bring your perspective, of course, but remember individuals from other teams are also bringing in their perspective. Be open and listen. I know it's not as easy as it sounds all the time, but what is a driving function is understanding what the goals are for this particular launch. And if other ideas or perspectives or questions, how they can affect those particular goals. And that is a driving force of whether or not a particular action should be implemented into the plan. With all that said, of course, we have common challenges during this phase of the process. Challenges that we hear during the go-to-market process are, well, we never say it that way. Oh, I have a great idea to add to the marketing 2 weeks before the launch date. But I never agreed to that. I didn't know that. I thought we were telling everybody about this product, not just that one segment. How can we herd these cats? Solution number 1. Be sure to socialize your go-to-market plan with a small group before you actually seek approval at your go-to-market kickoff. You want to make sure that your smaller teams are all aligned on your timelines, audiences, the messaging framework. And this, getting all your smaller teams aligned early on allows for a smooth approval process during your kickoff. Your kickoff should be of just a formal checkbox. Everyone is on the same page. And tip, working with the smaller teams first really helps to go to the next team and say, well, team A agreed on all of this. And it kind of pushes the approval process a little further with the team B and so forth. But of course, you want to listen to everybody's perspective on this, but it's just another tip to gain approval in that manner. Number 2, clearly outline your messaging. I provided up top on this slide 2 slides that I always place in my own go-to-market plan. And this is critical because we must have all the cross-functional teams align on the audience and how we're positioning the messaging, how we're the hierarchy of the benefits and the pillars, because that influences all the marketing, influences how we're going to go to market and how we're going to actually position a particular feature or product. We want to make sure that we align on the goal of the communication from the product marketing perspective and the audience pain points. What problem is this product solving? Why should our audience even care? What kind of emotion do we want to convey in our messaging? Is it excitement? Is it matter of fact? All this is influences our messaging. And by aligning on this cross-functionally, makes the creative team very happy because now they have all the puzzle pieces they need to start putting the messaging in place. Number 3, establish and agree on guiding principles. What does this mean exactly? This is a tip that I've just recently started adding to my own go-to-market plans. Establishing criteria on when and how and why your plan of record of go-to-market would change. This helps prevent scope creep and going off course so that everyone is aligned. For example, that this plan, this timeline would change only if our beta is unsuccessful. The app is not approved from the app stores. Situations like that, it's great to outline ahead of time, thinking forward. Now, obviously, you can't plan for everything, but having these in place also establishes to everyone that this is a formal plan that we all are agreeing on. We cannot get in there at the last minute and change things. It makes everything go haywire. So that is also helpful from that perspective as well. And when we talk about approval, I include this slide during our go-to-market kickoffs to gain formal approval after we go through all of the plans. We go down the list one by one, the point of contact for product, sales, marketing, reporting, and so on. Now, why do we do this? Of course, CYA, right? But also it creates the go-to-market plan as an official plan of record. We can stamp approval on it and go forward. It makes it official, and it gets everyone on board to understand the seriousness of this and how this drives marketing going forward. So we've done our go-to-market plan. It's all laid out. Now comes the fun part of execution, getting those pieces out and established and getting them ready to go to market. It's rallying the teams to meet the deadlines as outlined in the launch plan. Common challenges that we have during this time are, but I didn't know that was expected of me. Oh, you want me to do that? I thought this was your project. We took those features out 2 months ago after you aligned your entire plan on that feature benefit. Let's herd these cats during the execution phase. Number 1, create a charter. As you pull your marketing teams together and other teams as well as they may be involved in this, it's really helpful to create a working team charter. This provides everyone clear expectations up front. What's required of them? What are their responsibilities? What they will own? What is expected of them in terms of attending meetings? And also include who are these team members. Make it official. Also establish preferred method of communications. Is it daily stand-ups, working through Slack? And it's helpful also as you're working through your team charter to gain feedback from your team as well. Make sure they are on board and they have input into this so that it is the team's charter and not just you pushing expectations upon them. Number 2, assign clear ownership for every marketing tactic, clear timelines and workbacks, and again, weekly meetings for status updates. Ownership is critical and it has to be very clear, very clearly stated who owns which marketing tactic and when the first deadline is due to present. This provides, of course, transparency and also very important launch readiness. And I will guarantee you, because I have seen it happen a million times, you can still do all of this and you will still have someone say, oh, wait, I didn't realize that deadline was in 2 days. Keep pushing, keep trying, keep pushing the deadlines. You cannot over communicate enough to your team on deadlines and who owns what and what is expected of them, and to get what you need to make sure your launch is ready at the deadline as proposed. Execution solution number 3, a go, no-go meeting. Much like the go-to-market approval process, having all your cross-functional teams together to run down the list by function for a decision on go or no-go. This makes sure everyone cross-functioning is aligned and ready to meet the launch timeline. And a tip, and I've done this very recently, review your communications with the team to ensure no feature release has changed. And guess what? When we did this, we realized there were some changes. We had to revise our communications. Fortunately, it was not a big change, but it was a change we needed to implement nonetheless. And finally, our retrospective. No particular challenges per se to report here, but I did want to share out a few tips when working on your retrospective. And retrospectives are so important. I will tell you, many of the tips I've just shared with you have come through or come out of a retrospective. Tip number 1, confirm if it's best to do your retrospective into smaller groups, or if it's better to focus on the larger perspective, beginning to end phase. There's pros and cons to each one. Decide that before you begin your retrospective meetings. Provide a high-level timeline to remind teams of the process to date. This helps to jog memories on what actually had happened over 2 months ago. Keep it simple and ask for specifics. I think this went great. Doesn't really identify tactics to keep going forward with. And number 1 of all the tips I can provide is remember to blame the process and not the people. You want to make sure that you are creating a safe space for people to voice their opinions and share their challenges and frustrations that can be improved upon for future launches. And I know, I get it. Sometimes this could be tough, even for the facilitator. I've had to bite my tongue several times when I felt myself the urge to become defensive. But again, think about the process. Take the comments as they are, because if someone is tripping up and not understanding, there must be something wrong with the process that can be improved. Keep learning and improving the process. That's what go-to-market is. And our retrospectives really help us to do so by improving the process and optimizing each one of those different areas under go-to-market. That's one of the things that I actually love about product marketing, because you're always learning and it's just something more to learn and improve upon. It's really a great feeling. So round up those cats. I really hope this presentation has helped you with tips to gain alignment cross-functioning through timelines, structured communications, and providing an official plan of record to drive your teams forward and bring them together with you. And I'd love to hear your tips on organizing the chaos. Please reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'd love to hear from you, or if you have any questions or comments as well, I'd love to chat. Thank you very much. I hope you all have a good rest of the conference. Take care.